Today we're diving into a story that, honestly, it starts with a horrible tragedy, shifts into this moment of incredible heroism, and then takes a twist that is so dark it is just almost unbelievable. It's the story of one family and two brothers whose lives went down shockingly different paths.
And really, that's the big question we're looking at today. How can two kids from the same home, who both go through this incredible family trauma, end up on completely opposite ends of the human spectrum? To even begin to understand how this could happen, we have to go all the way back to the beginning.
So our story begins in Merced, California. It was just a seemingly normal Monday afternoon, one that would end up changing the Stayner family forever.
Okay, so it's December 4th, 1972. 7-year-old Steven is just walking home from school when a man pulls up, claims he's collecting for a church, and convinces him to get in the car. He was driven out to this remote cabin and told this just devastating lie, that his parents didn't want him anymore, and that was the start of a 7-year nightmare.
The man who took him was named Kenneth Parnell, and Parnell wasn't just some random criminal. This guy had a long and really disturbing history. He was a man who, even from a young age, just seemed drawn to pain and punishment.
And listen to this quote. It's from a psychiatric evaluation back in 1951. That's more than 20 years before he kidnapped Steven. The evaluation noted his peculiar tendency to search for trouble and punishment. I mean, the warning signs were there, decades before he ever crossed paths with the Stayner family.
For years, Steven endured this horrific abuse, but he never, ever gave up. And this whole period of captivity, it all builds to this moment of just incredible courage.
7 years. I mean, just think about that. For 7 years, Steven was held captive. His name was even changed to Dennis Parnell, but as Steven grew into a teenager, his captor, Parnell, he started to grow less interested in him and began looking for a younger victim to replace him.
And this is where the entire story turns. When Parnell brought home a new victim, a 5-year-old boy named Timmy White, that was the final straw for Steven. After purposely messing up other abduction attempts, on March 1, 1980, a 14-year-old Steven saw his chance. He grabbed little Timmy, hitchhiked for miles, and walked right into a police station, ready to end his own ordeal and save this other child.
When the police questioned him, he uttered this simple but incredibly powerful sentence. It ended 7 years of captivity. It rescued another little boy, and it instantly made Steven Stayner a household name, a national hero.
But, returning home wasn't some fairy tale ending, not even close. Steven was immediately thrown into this massive media circus. He was bullied at school, he struggled to reconnect with a family that had totally changed, and his own father reportedly refused to even hug him. Freedom, it turned out, brought a whole new kind of prison.
And while Steven's incredible story of survival was captivating the entire nation, his older brother Cary was dealing with his own internal struggles completely out of the public eye.
Then, in 1989, at just 24 years old, Steven's life was cut tragically short in a motorcycle accident. His death really cemented his legacy as this tragic American hero. But while one brother's story ended, the family's whole saga, well, that was far from over.
You really have to understand the contrast here. While Steven was being celebrated, his brother Cary felt like he'd been completely forgotten. I mean, he had also lost his childhood to this tragedy, first to the grief, then to the media frenzy. As one of their neighbors put it, when Steven came home, Cary was put back on the shelf.
This observation from a longtime neighbor, man, it turned out to be chillingly prophetic. Cary Stayner, the quiet brother who was always living in the hero's shadow, was desperate for attention of his own, and he was going to get it in the most horrific way you can imagine.
So nearly a decade after Steven's death, the Stayner family name would once again be all over the headlines, but this time it was for a series of brutal crimes that just shocked the nation to its core.
In February of 1999, a mother, her teenage daughter, and a family friend all vanished while they were visiting Yosemite. This kicked off one of the largest search efforts in the park's history, but the discoveries they made were just grim.
The bodies of Carol Sund and Silvina Pelosa were found in the trunk of their burned-out rental car. The search for 15-year-old Julie continued until the FBI received this, a crude, hand-drawn map that led them to her body with this taunting, sadistic message written on it. We had fun with this one.
5 months later, the killer struck again. A 26-year-old naturalist named Joey Armstrong was found murdered near her home, right inside the park. This time, though, investigators had a lead.
The hero's brother, Cary Stayner, happened to be working as a handyman nearby. When the FBI brought him in, he confessed to everything. And his confession came with this set of just sickening demands. He wanted reward money, a prison close to home, and disturbingly, pictures of young girls. When an agent told him he could only have one, you know what he chose? The pictures.
And with that confession, the world was just left stunned. How could this happen? How could one family possibly produce both a beloved hero and a cold-blooded killer?
When you actually lay their stories side by side, what you see are two boys who both endured horrific abuse. Steven's trauma was public. It was inflicted by a stranger. But Cary's was a secret, allegedly inflicted by his very own uncle. And while Steven became this symbol of survival, Cary just festered in resentment and later claimed he'd had violent fantasies since he was a little kid, long before his brother was ever even taken.
The investigation into Cary's crimes, it unearthed this dark, generational secret. Turns out, the Stayner family had a hidden history of abuse, with allegations against their father and their uncle. The trauma wasn't just two isolated events. It was embedded in the family itself, a cruel twist of fate that Steven would be kidnapped by someone who did the same horrific things.
And all of this brings us back to the haunting mystery of the Stayner family. Was Cary a monster created by neglect and jealousy? Or did the trauma of his brother's abduction just unlock something that was already there? The story offers no easy answers, only the chilling reality that within one family, the seeds of both heroism and horror can grow side by side.